This is Freedom Writers, incorporating digital storytelling in the school library through journalism. These are the program objectives to develop students' language, writing, and speaking skills in a constructivist approach, so learning by doing, to teach students how to conduct research and gather information with the intent of sharing it with others, making local school news accessible to the community by reaching users and patrons in a variety of ways, and to create students that are aware by having them self reflect on their learning. It's important to note that the evolution of newspaper writing to a more digitalized journalism leads to a new way of producing and consuming information. Being that we're in a digital age, it's important to provide users with information at their fingertips, just like the way that they're used to doing things, so that this way we're not having to compete in print format. Providing users with other ways is going to access them at their point of need. The purpose of a school newspaper is to highlight the events and news that occurs in the school community. So school libraries are essential in order for students to become active consumers of information. So instead of having students consume information, how about we reverse the role and make them active producers of information as well? In having a school newspaper, it develops democratic students, as noted by the First Amendment, because it allows students to use their voice for freedom of speech, for freedom of information, for letting others know what they think and sharing and accessing. It also promotes a user service that has foundations in traditional reference. So the purpose of the library is to share information with users. And so this is just an extension of that, but utilizing students to share. And it also covers a need for local news that is meaningful to students because who else would students want to get information from than from other students? So it makes it meaningful. So the budget is $2,910.34. So in order to start up our program, these are items that are needed to get it up and running. And again, each item is linked. So the first item is a green screen. It's important to have a green screen because it allows us to add special effects to the backgrounds of photos or to the backgrounds of videos. So it allows us to enhance the content a lot. So it's very important to have a green screen. The need for three microphones. These are going to be utilized for interviews when interviewing people and gathering research. And it's also for the use for students in the creation of podcasts, being that podcasting is going to be one of the ways that students will be sharing information. There is also the need for two wired headsets so that students can listen to the videos that they have recorded. They can also use it to listen to audio, and they can also use it when they are podcasting. There's also a need for technology, three iPads, so that this way we have a variety for our journalists in order so they can record videos, audio, they can take pictures, and they can utilize online programs and applications that are available on the iPads. There's also a need for three Chromebooks for editing photos, videos, information, and for also posting online. And I'll go more into depth later on about the programs that we will be using with the iPads and the Chromebooks for creating information, for editing, for putting our newspaper together. And then also an iPad gimbal, which is a device that is used to hold the iPad in place during recording so that the students aren't shaking while they're holding it. So it just stabilizes the iPad. And of course, a camera for taking pictures and recording videos. The target audience is broken up into the participants and the audience. So the participants are a subset of elementary aged fifth graders that are interested in a career in journalism or broadcasting. Um, we are also open to having guest columnists, which are local expertise that would like to share some knowledge or their opinions on something. And this can be anybody from community members to teachers to administrators to other students, just those that are open to sharing. So we will always have a guest columnist section. And the targeted audience is the school community that's comprised of students in first through fifth grades, the stakeholders, teachers, administrators, and families of the community. The intent of this project is to spread awareness of the news occurring in the school from activities and clubs such as our esports club, Girl Start, cheer, chess, um, book club, and destination imagination, to also just like local grade level news. What's going on in the classrooms? What are students doing? What are going to be some of the local field trips, PTO, information such as that, and community events such as family movie night, literacy night, just different ways that we can involve the school and our local community and bridge those gaps. So it's intended to arrive at a solution that acts in education to sensitize young people to be more critical of the information they see and to contribute to the writing of news. These are the benefits of the Freedom Writers program. So it's very important to note that people are highly interested in events and issues in their local communities. So one of the benefits of this program is that it makes information accessible, meaning that since we're utilizing videos, photos, audio through podcasting, as opposed to traditional text, users that have a hard time reading, such as our younger age students, um, are able to look at the visuals for that structured support that they may need. Also, for those that also need accessibility, and there is also the ability to translate text online into different languages and also to have um, text to speech. So, meaning that text can be read to users. It also teaches students skills. So they learn to collaborate with one another, they develop critical thinking skills, they conduct research, develop reading and writing skills, they learn to utilize technology and work within a deadline. So it teaches critical skills that students need to be for that students need in order to be 21st century learners. And then again, librarians have the expertise to guide students in creating a school newspaper, and this work seems well suited to library student engagement activities or library initiated student service learning. This is the rationale and the research. So, there were three different articles that I read in conducting research. So, the first one is Libraries and Local News Expanding Journalism, another user service grounded in reference by Chris LeBeau. And this one was a study that focused on the need for gathering and distributing local news by discussing problems and offering solutions. Another article that I read was called Engage Students in News Writing. So, the purpose of this one was that it was a case study on using a constructivist approach to teach Portuguese students on how to create a digital journal utilizing an online platform for collaboration and teaching them how to conduct research and detect fake news. The result of this study was that students need to be critical thinkers in order to evaluate the news that they read. And the last article that I found was called Fostering Self Regulated Learning Through the School Newspaper. So this one evaluated three groups of students to see their self-awareness in creating a school newspaper. Group one was to create a web newspaper, group two was to create a traditional newspaper, and group three was to be the control group. The results of this study is that there is a positive correlation between students creating school newspapers and self-regulated learning. Now, going based off of this, it's important to note that the research showed that it teaches students information literacy skills. So they learn how to conduct research, become producers and consumers of information, evaluate fake news stories, and create a product using conventional grammar skills. Something that I found very interesting is that there were similar programs already being done in regards to this, according to LeBeau, and so it's been successfully implemented in other schools and public libraries, in that young participants study journalism, learn to take an interest in their communities, and foster some hometown pride on the side. In regards to self regulated learning, students go through the process of self regulated learning that involves creating goals, a plan, researching and exploring what interests them, making a time commitment, pursuing different tasks, and reflecting on their product. And lastly, it is also a constructivist approach based on a constructivist way of thinking, and that students learn by doing in an authentic way that allows for them to make real world connections and develop skills in context. Now, the way that we intend to create a digital newspaper is that the possibilities are endless when it comes to this. Some examples would be to utilize text, audio through podcasting, visuals through photos, videos, and videos can be endless, meaning that they're book talks, they can be news reports. We could also utilize TikToks, and then it will be shared with users by posting on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the school website. Some of the digital tools to actually put everything together is Adobe for Education, Canva, Wakelet for storage of our newspaper, and Google Sites, among many others. The way that we are going to measure the program's impact is that a pre and post test will be given to the program's participants in regards to their information literacy skills, research, and how they can communicate information to users. Interviews will be conducted with the program's participants, so the students that are going to be the journalists and some of the members of the intended audience to see how they view the program and how beneficial it is. And lastly, a digital survey will be administered to the community on the information covered within the digital newspaper and the effectiveness of the delivery format. If they feel like it is a better source and a better format in delivering information as opposed to the traditional way of just print newspapers. So we will be examining that as well. And these are my references.